Bergman, Everyday Spacer.
I'm Jeff Miller, CME Computer and IT Solutions.
At Everyday Spacer, we show regular folks how to personally and directly participate in space exploration, science, and astronomy. We're here on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific Time, 12 midnight Eastern Time, and 2 p.m. on Saturday in Queensland, Australia. We're broadcasting live from Thousand Oaks, California. Thank you so much for being here. Jeff's going to start out with some cybersecurity news. Is it time to share?
First, I'm going to...
Oh, hello. Hey, Sally.
Says,
I can't see it. I got that thing in front.
Oh, that's right. And someone named Sammy Jammy.
Welcome. Glad to see you.
No, it's not a text only. You were just early. This is YouTube. It starts at 9 o'clock.
No Zoom call. Nope.
Yeah, no Zoom call. Hopefully it'll be less boring now that there's not a blank screen. Okay, so some cybersecurity news.
Am I sharing?
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, a bunch of stuff today. Most of it not really significant to most people. The biggest one is multiple vulnerabilities in Cisco products could allow remote code execution. So most businesses use Cisco routers and switches and stuff like that. So if you work for a business like that, make sure that they update their routers and switches and other devices.
Updates are always good, apparently.
Yep. This is the FBI's Internet Crime Complaints Center. One of the things that they're warning about is faked websites or spoofed websites, as they call them. And apparently their website has been spoofed, so they're using themselves as an example. So they go through a lot of stuff here about what to look for to make sure that it's their website. But this is applicable to anyone's website.
How very meta. Okay.
Yeah. So, you look at this. I'm going to share the link to it. Look at this and see, see the different things. Like theirs always ends at a .gov. So if it looks like them, but it doesn't end at a .gov, not them. That doesn't apply to everyone, but still.
Well, if you go to your bank, make sure it's the bank's.
Yeah.
Address.
Oh, yeah. They don't
URL.
include it here, but let's say your bank has a URL called bank.com. If it's something.bank.com, it goes to the bank. If it's bank.something.com, it goes somewhere else. That's the most common way of spoofing it. The other way of spoofing it is by making typos in there, purposeful typos. And
what about bank.com/something? That's not.
No, it still goes to bank.
Still goes to the bank. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's the bank.com part.
Right.
That's the bank.
Okay. The way it's resolved is the .com gets resolved first. It goes to the whole list of .coms. Then bank would be, this is where I'm going. So that's, and then everything else, either before it or after it, are all different pages on that website. So,
okay.
So I am going to share that link. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let's change the thing.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Yes, I'm getting there. There we go.
This link, I'll share it. They give a lot of good timely stuff. And the CIS advisors, I get these all the time. And, this is the one that I showed you at the beginning, the Cisco.
CIS stand for something?
Center for Internet Security.
Oh, it's right there. Okay.
Yeah. It's just not very big.
Yeah.
Like a vulnerability in NX, almost no one here would actually use that. Vulnerability in SolarWinds Web Help Desk is something that a lot of companies might have, because SolarWinds is used to remote onto a company's computer and handle their security. But there's a vulnerability in it, so that needs to get updated. Go Anywhere, again, it's a managed file transfer protocol. Most people won't use that. WatchGuard Firewire operating system Again, most people don't use it.
These are more for companies then.
Yeah,
Okay.
but multiple.
But there's people out there who work for companies, so.
Yeah, that's why I'm just reading through them. I'm not going to discuss them a lot, but I will share the link to this whole list so that you can, if you're interested, you can get it.
Great.
But multiple vulnerabilities to both Chrome and Mozilla products. So, update your browsers. By the way, if there's a vulnerability in Chrome, there's a vulnerability in Edge. Because Edge is written in Chrome. Okay. It's just rebranded Chrome.
Got it.
So I will put these two links. I don't have to put this one because it's on this page.
Okay.
So I will put these two links in the.
Okay. While Jeff is doing that, I will check for more comments.
Oh, yes, lots.
Yeah. Hey, Janie Becker. Welcome. Happy Friday night to you too. Hey, Naomi. Welcome. Glad you're here. Oh, there's Dawn. Hello. All right. And those look like they're going to be clickable links.
Yep.
From Jeff.
Yeah, they're short enough.
So.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got everybody.
Yep.
And you got one more piece. Do you want to?
Oh.
Right there.
Yep. And we scheduled another Zoom call for you, a Zoom meeting for October 1st, noon Pacific time. And it will be cybersecurity, a full talk on cybersecurity plus Q&A. In fact, probably about 20 minutes of talk and the rest of it Q&A. But I tend to do Q&A throughout it, so don't feel shy about asking questions. And to get on the list, just send an email to jeff@cmeit.com.
See, we finally did it.
Yeah, we finally got a banner for it. Okay.
We get there eventually.
Okay, so tonight's episode is Dimensions in Time and Space. We'll be back in 8.3 seconds. Okay. There's a link to that book in the description. Yes, I didn't cough throughout that whole thing, and as soon as we come back. If you want a signed copy of the book, write to pam@everydayspacer.com for details.
And there's
right
that
there.
one.
Yeah. So last month we got a suggestion for doing a show. So tonight we'll delve into dimensions. A search, from a search in everyday language, dimensions are the length, width, and depth or height of an object. And it continues in mathematics. A dimension is a coordinate or degree of freedom required to define a point on an object. However, that is not the direction of this episode. What happens when we go beyond the third dimension? There are some fun videos and thought experiments out there. This episode will take a look at some of these and play around with dimensions. Pam, what do you have for us on these dimensions?
Well, let me start by saying there is a lot out there about dimensions, and we could probably do several episodes on this topic alone. I was actually looking.
Well, we're going to do one more next week.
We'll talk about that later. I was actually looking for one very cool video I saw that it was several years ago, and it did a pretty good job, I thought, and they had a really interesting situation. It was like a classroom, and these objects were going in and out of the chalkboard, so you could kind of see what they might look like. Anyway, so I didn't find that exact video, but I
remember seeing that one.
Yeah, it's a cool video, right? I didn't find that one, but I did find another one that might even be a little bit better at describing at least the fourth dimension. There's a part 2 that I have yet to see, so maybe it goes even farther into additional dimensions, and fifth and so on. And in fact, we do consider these in various terms like a dot, a line, a cube, and we give them names like first dimension, second dimension, third dimension, fourth dimension, and so on. Real creative, I know. All right, so we're going to go ahead and look at, yes?
Oh, no. A dot is 0. A line is first dimension.
Well, I didn't say they were...
Second dimension is a plane. You skipped plane.
Oh, okay. Well...
I was a math guy.
I didn't... They weren't...
I was a math guy, so...
Okay. Yeah, great.
Pedantic. If you're into math, you're into being pedantic about math, at least.
Is it okay if I go on?
Sure.
Okay, great. So you do the regular old search, and I just use dimensions, and they talk about measurements, length, width, height, and yes, those are relevant, and they actually talk about a lot of other stuff too. But I'm gonna really stick to things that we can think of as, again, the first, second, and third dimensions, and then speculate on beyond that. But they do give us, up, down, left, right, forward, backward, and in general, that's useful to us. So I do want to kind of talk about this a little bit, because I don't think this has actual sound. No, this was on the graphic for the show tonight, and these are called Calabi-Yau manifolds. And now let me tell you, these help you talk about things like 10 dimensions. And I didn't quite get that far because, like I said, there is a very, very lot of material on this. I have lots and lots of tabs. I don't think I'm going to go through every single one of them, but I think it's useful to talk about this. One of these books, it was written, gosh, what was it, 100 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Flatland. This subtitled A Romance of Many Dimensions. Now, it's sort of a thought experiment to help us consider how fourth dimension from our third dimension might be. Now, this thing goes for 3.5 hours, which they say it's a full audio book. I didn't think this book was that big. I do think this is a pretty interesting representation. Let's see. I'm just going to run a little tiny bit of this and see what.
That's why it's 3 hours long.
Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions by Edwin A. Abbott. Narrated by James Langton. This unabridged audiobook was produced in the year 2009 by Tantor Media Incorporated, which holds the copyright thereto. To the inhabitants of space in general, and HC in particular, this work is dedicated by a humble native of Flatland, in the hope that, even as he was initiated into the mysteries of 3 dimensions, having been previously conversant with only 2, so the citizens of that celestial region may aspire yet higher and higher to the secrets of 4, 5, or even 6 dimensions.
So it's kind of got some fun language.
That's weird. I tried to do it to show us and it popped mine. I'm going to take mine off of the...
Yeah, you have to remove it still.
Yep, there we go.
They keep changing stuff, so it keeps changing. So it's got some interesting language if you like that sort of thing. This image does not change. You can see that by kind of scrolling through like this. It's really for listening, but if you get the book, you can read it. And I think there's some images in that book, right?
Yes, there are. And there was a really good cartoon that I saw as a kid that was a version of this. It was much shorter than 3.5 hours. Yeah. But the main premise...
Well, there's this thing too, which is somewhat cartoonish, but they do delve into the story.
Yeah.
And I don't remember it being this completely thorough, and
it looks familiar, but I don't remember it being that colorful.
Yeah, this is probably a much more recent version of this. But everything happens on this plane, and so everything looks a certain way to these Flatlanders, and they describe that, and also what happens when, and this, I didn't even see this, but I got well into this, but I didn't really see anything about, oh, here's a third dimension. Wow, that's way in, like an hour in.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about finally a third dimensional creature showing up in Flatland.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because it's told from the point of view of a 2-dimensional creature,
right,
experiencing 3 dimensions, to try to help you wrap your brain around, as a 3-dimensional creature, what a 4th dimension might look like.
Right. So all these little critters are running around, doing their things, having their lives. I think this is actually the prison. And I just don't remember it being that elaborate either. I thought it was a pretty short book, actually. And I'm sure the other one that you remember is around too somewhere. But here is a first edition of the book, 1962. So this one, I thought this was a much older book. Remember they had the picture of this one here? That's like really old, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're calling this a first edition. But you
first edition paperback.
Oh, I see. So maybe it was hardback.
But then If you notice the date on it, 1952.
Yeah.
So 1962, 1952, first edition, whatever.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Okay, and there's some interesting images out there. One of which is this. We've got that 0 dimension, 1 dimension, 2 dimensions, and we're very familiar with some of these. A dot, in fact, a line, which is an infinite series of dots, in fact, and then you take this line and you expand it out, so it will be an infinite series of lines.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, they call that stacking. Yeah.
Okay. And then we get to, I think I did hear that somewhere. And then we get to the point where you're creating yet another one of these dimensions by going in fact,
stacking the squares.
Well, but this is there's another piece of it that's important too. It's perpendicular.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's easy to talk about going from 1D. I don't know if the 0 to 1 is perpendicular.
Mm-mm.
I think in any direction it can be perpendicular,
Mm-hmm.
like any direction at all. But the important part about this is that it's perpendicular to this line, and we get a square. And then we go ahead and take the square and make that into a perpendicular. Now, of course, this is a 2D image that we're seeing, but I think our brains can handle this 3-dimensional thing, which is a drawing in 2 dimensions. Where it gets tricky is when you're looking at a 4-dimensional object, which is hard enough to think about it in 3D, but then you're seeing it on this 2D surface, this plane, and if you think about it, this computer image might in fact be flat.
Yeah. Because
almost any kind of paper or anything is going to have some 3D-ness to it.
Yeah.
But this, no. And then, all right, I don't know what that is.
That's 5 dimensions.
Sure. But again, it's always perpendicular. What's perpendicular to this 3-dimensional object, this box, basically? Well, it's kind of that.
We can't actually make one in the 3-dimensional because we can only access 3 dimensions.
Literally, yes. But there is a video in here that I thought did a pretty good job of explaining 4D.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I had, just so much time to delve into this. There are some really good things that go into, and I think you saw most of the one that talked about deeper, more and more dimensions, right?
Yeah, and it got a little bit speculative, so I'll probably go into a little bit more later on.
All right. And so, of course, you've got a nice Wikipedia page. I don't know that I liked what they said about it at first, but I think the part that I thought was more interesting was down here: dimension of an object, roughly speaking, number of degrees of freedom. Oh, is that it? Wait a minute. Or is it down a little bit lower? Well, maybe this is it. But anyway, I think it's more interesting to look at this in terms of imagery.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go on to talk about that. And I really love this Carl Sagan version. I'm not going to really play much of it, but he does give you this surface, talk about the little Flatlanders and their house and different things. And then he brings an apple in, and he shows you what the apple is, where the apple is, and what the Flatlanders can either see or not see. And he does a kind of an interesting thing with the apple. He stamps it so that they get sort of what the Flatlander would see on the Flatlanders, in the Flatlanders' house. There it is. So he takes and stamps it in 2 places, because if the apple were to venture through the Flatlanders' house from...
he keeps slicing it with his knife.
Right. I was about to get there, because in Flatland you can go up and down and side to side, but the apple in 3D can actually go from the top of the Flatlander's house through the house. And what the Flatlander will see are these infinite number of slices of the apple. Just like you were saying.
It'll just see the edge that intersects the plane.
Right.
And so,
so the first coat stamp that Carl Sagan did was the little bottom of the apple, and this was the little divots on the apple. And then he cut the apple and then gave us this kind of funny stamp of an apple. But if it were in fact flat,
he didn't cut it straight.
No, it's got a curve in it. But if he didn't cut it flat, it would have been it would have stamped the whole area.
It would have been an increasing circle, a circle of increasing size.
Right. Now this one, you got to watch. If you go to find this, and I can grab this link for you too. There's one that cuts it off right before you get to the kind of punchline here. He will take this 3-dimensional box though, and of course we can see it reflected on the surface in 2D. And then again he gets into let's play some of that part. That's kind of fun part. Where's a good place to start? Oh, there's a good place to start, because he talks about this 3D object projected onto a 2D surface. I'm going to go back a little bit more because I want you to hear I think he gives you a good term with the projection. You lose something in the projection. Right. So let's see if this is a good place to start.
We recognize it's ordinarily drawn in third grade classrooms as two squares with their vertices connected. Now, if we look at the shadow of a three-dimensional object in 2 dimensions, we see that, in this case, not all the lines appear equal. Not all the angles are right angles. The three-dimensional object has not been perfectly represented in its projection in 2 dimensions, but that's part of the cost of losing a dimension in the projection. Now, let's take this 3-dimensional cube and project it, carry it through a 4th physical dimension. Not that way, not that way, not that way, but at right angles to those 3 directions. I can't show you what direction that is, but imagine that there is a 4th physical dimension. In that case, we would generate a 4-dimensional hypercube, which is also called a tesseract. I cannot show you a tesseract because I and you are trapped in 3 dimensions. But what I can show you is the shadow in 3 dimensions of a 4-dimensional hypercube or tesseract. This is it. And you can see it's 2 nested cubes, all the vertices connected by lines. And now the real tesseract in 4 dimensions would have all the lines of equal length and all the angles right angles. That's not what we see here, but that's the penalty of projection. So you see, while we cannot imagine the world of 4 dimensions, we can certainly think about it perfectly well. Now, imagine a universe just like Flatland, truly 2-dimensional.
I think I'll hold off on that part. But real quick, I want to tell you that Everyday Spacer is sponsored by CME Computer and IT Solutions. Thank you so much. What I do want to get into is this video here. This is from Hypercubist Math, Visualizing 4D Part 1. I have a couple of spots in it that I want to show you. And then there's a Part 2, which I didn't get to start. I think it's going to help us even more so, though. So let me run these couple of bits for you. I really like the way this is described, and well, I'll just run it. You'll hear.
Only persistent myth that the 4th dimension is impossible for us to visualize, depict, or even imagine as anything other than an abstract mathematical notion, where math and physics explainers regularly say things along the lines of, it is impossible for us to visualize 4 dimensions because we live in a 3D world. Or our 3D brains are just incapable of conceptualizing a 4th spatial dimension. This video and the series of videos following are meant to push back against this idea. In this series, we're going to learn how to think in 4 dimensions. We'll learn how 4D geometry works and use geometric logic and lower dimensional analogies to build up a new world that we can both see on a screen and in our heads. We'll learn to visually understand all sorts of 4D shapes such as hypercubes, cubinders, and hyperspheres. We'll learn what curved space means, and eventually, for the more mathematical crowd, how to visualize things like quaternions and complex functions in their natural 4-dimensional realm. Your $200 puffer keeps you warm.
Well, shoot. I was hoping to avoid the ads because I set up several of these. I did think they got to another part of this. But let's run the next one. Let's see if we can cover it in this. All right, here's the second part, and it's 3.5 minutes in.
Beyond that, there are more exotic theories in physics that make use of multiple dimensions of space that we can't see. In this series, however, I won't be focusing on space-time, general relativity, or physics. A dimension is an abstract notion that can be almost any type of continuous numerical information. If you want to measure the temperature at every point in a room, you're dealing with 4 dimensions, 3 spatial and 1, thermal. If you conduct a survey that has 4 numerical questions like age, weight, height, and income level, that's 4 dimensions of data. In mathematics, the notion of a dimension does not have to correspond to anything physical. Our challenge is to learn how to think about a 4th spatial dimension without worrying about what, if anything, it represents. Now, that being said, time is a great way to introduce the 4th dimension, as we're so familiar with it. Think of time as a gateway drug to 4-dimensional thinking.
Yes.
For instance, imagine a cube that pops into existence at a certain time, hangs out for 10 seconds, and then vanishes. The cube's existence over that time interval is a 4-dimensional object. This is easier to see if we show the cube moving through time along a virtual time axis. Every instant or slice of time during that interval represents a 3-dimensional cross-section of that cube's existence, 3 spatial dimensions, like a still frame of a movie. But now consider just the cube's top surface, a 2-dimensional square. Over the cube's lifetime, that top square's existence is also 3-dimensional, 2 spatial and 1 temporal. In fact, every square cross-section of the cube also has its own 3-dimensional existence. No matter how you slice it, the 4-dimensional object is composed of an infinite number of 3D slices. We'll come back to this idea down the line, as it's crucial to understanding 4D shapes. But this is also a good time to talk about the limitations of using time as an analogy. For us, time flows in one direction, forwards. We're not able to move backwards in time. And it's not straightforward to think about time as a spatial direction. For instance, how do you measure the angle between a time dimension and a space dimension? How do we rotate an object from a spatial dimension to the time dimension? And wouldn't that process itself take time to occur? Not only do we not need time to visualize 4 spatial dimensions, but we need time to measure the duration of events. We simply think about space differently than we think about time.
Okay, I think I want to go to the next one now. And yeah, it's right before the start of that, because the way they depict this image, I think this is going to be very helpful to us. So let's go ahead.
Is to finish up this video by leaving you with an extremely useful mental model of a 4-dimensional object to ponder. As we mentioned, one of the difficult things about visualizing a 4D extrusion is imagining a 3D object as flat. We might be able to imagine it, but it doesn't feel right to us, especially at first. To help us, imagine taking a 3D object, like a cube. We then project the image of this cube onto a piece of paper, or maybe a blank playing card. Now, this is a 2D projection of a 3D object, but we easily associate parts of the drawing with the 3 dimensions. It has length, width, and depth, lined up with the X, Y, and Z axes.
Okay, now here's the part that comes in where I think it helps us with 4D. And Scott, Scott came in, right?
Yeah. Hi, Scott.
Hey, Scott, welcome. You're always welcome. All right, so if you're ready, we're going to go ahead and see how this plays out from this perspective. I really like this a lot.
Our brains have no trouble interpreting this as 3-dimensional,
right?
Especially if the image is on a screen and can simulate rotating in 3 dimensions. We can even plot the position of a particle in 3D space, moving it along the X, Y, and Z directions. Essentially, this card is acting as a virtual 3-dimensional plane. But projecting this object onto a flat surface frees up a physical dimension, the dimension that is perpendicular to the card or the screen. We can think of this dimension as our 4th axis, which is perpendicular to the 3 dimensions depicted on the surface. This allows us to stack up many such virtual hyperplanes, each with a cube projected on it. I call this the deck of cards model. It allows us to conceptualize 3 dimensions as flat, and gives us an easy way to think about a 4D object as the continuum of hyperplanes, the full deck. Now we can show a particle moving in all 4 dimensions, the x, y, and z directions, and now along the w-axis, that is, through the deck, and we can see that motion from multiple angles. If we allow the cards to act as ultra-thin screens, we can show the cubes rotating in virtual 3D space, just like they would on a computer screen. All of this is meant to help us visualize the idea of 3-dimensional cross-sections that all stack up to form our 4-dimensional hypercube.
Okay, so why don't we come back to, well, let's see what the next one is. I think that hopefully, I think that you get the idea of how now we can depict that perpendicularness of a 4D situation. I really like how he starts off with, everybody says you can't do this, and he likes to say, well, here's how you do it. So I thought that was really, really good. Let's see, what's the next one? Oh, and here's that part 2. Like I said, I haven't gotten to it yet, but I think this is a pretty good resource, this Hypercubist math. This is the channel for them. There aren't a lot of videos, and it's been a little while, so maybe whoever this is will eventually get back to it. So, and I see there's a part 3. I didn't realize that before. So this could be pretty useful for us in understanding, I think, as we just saw, how you can, in fact, see things in other dimensions.
Right.
So I don't know how far it goes as far as, 4th, 5th, and 6th and so on. But ultimately, maybe we'll get to see that. All right, and this is kind of just a cute one. Well, I'll just run it for you.
This 2-dimensional creature has locked some precious gems away in a safe. She's checked the safe from every angle and is sure that no one will be able to break in without a key. But she hasn't taken into account the idea that a 3-dimensional creature, such as myself, might be peering in from above. She doesn't even know the concept of above. I could steal these gems without a key and without damaging the safe, and she would have no idea how they were taken. We should keep an eye out for ourselves. A 4-dimensional creature could steal from our safes without a key, could take the yolk from an egg without breaking the shell, appear in a closed room, or see inside of our brains. The 4th dimension is perpendicular to all of our normal 3D space directions, and we have no walls up against that direction.
And now that we've just seen what that might mean. Oh, and this is the video that Jeff saw.
Yeah.
I was trying to watch it, but too few hours of sleep. So talk to us about this one.
Okay, yeah. This is an hour long. Oh,
You might as well, because you're gonna.
Yeah.
He's doing this with his fingers.
yeah. I don't think we'll show this one.
No.
Trying to pick pieces out of this, I think, is going to be really hard. This is definitely a link that we need to share with them, because this is really good. And he has his own pet theory, and he'll have in the lower corner of the video, accepted math, accepted physics, and his speculation. And
it's kind of a nice guide.
It's a nice guide because he talks about a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff was covered here, but it's pretty, some of it's like, whoa, but it's still got the accepted physics there. Where he goes off in his own direction is the fact that, treating the 4th dimension not as something that we can reach. And his analogy is, is basically being an ant on this surface. Not quite 2-dimensional, but it's close enough for the analogy. Now, and he talks a lot about gravity and, curvature of space-time, and the fact that, if the space-time is curved, and I can't really do this because it doesn't stretch, the ant moving one way will take longer than the ant moving a different way because of the curvature, because of the stretchiness.
Can we depict that on Earth? I think if you go around the pole, it's shorter
Well,
than if you go around the equator,
right.
right?
Mostly it's, the old rubber mat with a bowling ball in it, like you see a lot, and he tends to hate that one. But
it shows up a lot in there.
Right.
Still.
But he uses it a lot. And the main thing there
It has its charms.
Is that one of the things that he talks about is that the space is curved. It's not curved in any of the three dimensions that we talk about. It's curved in a fourth dimension. So we are actually traveling four-dimensional without actually being able to leave the third dimension, because we're traveling the curve. We can't actually see the curve except by noticing that things take longer. So something in orbit is actually takes longer for the inside of the orbit than the outside of the orbit, or other way around. He describes it, but essentially that's why things that's why you orbit around something, is because one side of the object is taking longer to travel than the other side. Okay. Now, I don't know that
I have
that's
to watch that when I'm awake.
I don't think that it really explains how things fall into a gravity well. So, but the main thing there is that the fourth dimension, and he talks about five dimensions because he considers time to not be one of the dimensions, because it goes in one direction, not both directions. So he calls, the world that we exist in a 3+1.
Yes. With
time being the +1.
Right.
And then he says that his speculation, because of course there's no way to prove it, is that, I don't know how we could build anything that could prove it.
I don't know either.
But that our three dimensions exists in a fourth dimension. That's where the bending takes place, and it bends in the fourth dimension. So we kind of exist in the fourth dimension, but we can never see it. Just like an ant on a globe can never, if the globe's big enough, we'll never know that it's curved in a three-dimensional space. But if it goes in the same direction long enough, it'll end up where it got back to and be very confused. And we'll speculate that it's curved in some other dimension.
And that Sagan video goes on.
Yeah, and it does
talks
that.
about that too.
Yeah, so that's where, but he does a much better job of explaining it. And his video is an hour long, and it would take me several hours to try to explain it without just watching the video. So I really want you guys to see that link.
Which I just put into the chat.
It is in there.
And it looks like it's a good clickable link. It did not break.
Yeah. So right after Scott's, announcement, it's right there. And it's a very good link. It's a very good video.
Cool.
And,
like I said, I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah, and he has his own
when I'm
theory.
awake.
He has his own theory of gravity based on the dimensions, and so he's very clear that, okay, we went from accepted physics to this is what I think. And the nice thing about his theory of gravity is it matches very well with my theory of gravity.
Oh.
So,
okay.
So I think it's a very good theory on his part, because I agree with it already.
And I remember thinking at one point where they have the bowling ball and the trampoline kind of thing that, hey, wait a minute, that's going to have to be all around.
Right. Yes.
To every direction.
Yeah. Well,
around the sphere.
Yeah. It's just really hard for us to model that.
Yes, it's really hard, but it bends around.
Well, you see,
the whole thing, not just.
He's using two dimensions.
Yep.
In order to represent what's going on.
Just like the last guy was showing.
Right.
The two dimensions, and now we have the perpendicular one.
Right.
Through the set of cards, basically.
Yeah. Okay. And so it's you're losing something in the projection, as Sagan said. You lose details in the projection.
That's the cost of
losing
a dimension. Yeah. All right. So go ahead and share again. I'm not going to play this whole thing. It's a little bit long, but this is one of my very favorite. Well, it started as a book. So I'll play just a very little bit at the beginning of it. And if you have seen this or read the book, I would love to hear about it because it's just a fun book. And one of these videos loses the very last line, which is unfortunate. So find the one with the to the vector go the spoils. All right, we're gonna play just a little bit of this. Yep.
Once upon a time, there was a sensible, straight line who was hopelessly in love with a dot. You're the beginning and the end, the hub, the core, and the quintessence, he told her tenderly. But the frivolous dot wasn't a bit interested, for she only had eyes for a wild and unkempt squiggle who never seemed to have anything on his mind at all.
Bit of social
They
commentary.
were everywhere together, singing and dancing and frolicking and laughing and Lord knows what else. He's so gay and free, so uninhibited and full of joy, she cried rapturously. And you're as stiff as a stick, dull, conventional and repressed, tied and trammeled, subdued, smothered and stifled, squashed, squelched and quenched.
And you'll be happy to know that the line ultimately prevails. They have a couple of different versions of this, but I think that one's my favorite. This has lots more colors in it, and I think it loses something in there. Let's see, what else did I have? Oh, and this is the book, The Dot in the Line. I actually found this in the road with like one of the covers missing or something. But like I said, one of my very favorite books of all time. And I think I got just one more here. Oh, I just thought this was fun because it shows things in a somewhat different manner. Of course, we have the line and the square and the cube, but we don't usually see the cube in quite that way.
Right. Yeah, you're looking at one of the vertices of it.
Right. And then the other one, the tesseract.
We don't usually show that projection.
No. But maybe these can be useful to us for other dimensions too. And they're very nice and symmetrical. They're very beautiful in that way. So
assuming the other dimensions operate that way.
Yes.
You know, like I said, with if our space curves in the fourth dimension, it might not, and he gets into that, it might not actually be a full dimension.
Okay.
You know, it might not be.
Oh, the book, the one you watched, Chris,
Yeah.
Chris the Brain?
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be, and he gives the analogy of an ant farm. It's actually three-dimensional, but effectively for the ants, it's two-dimensional. Because they can't really go in and out of the...
Like if you had an ant farm in glass.
Right, yeah.
Like
they can't really travel through the glass to go in the other dimensions.
And that's how you see the ways that the ants...
Right. They can wiggle around. They can turn around. They can physically move in that dimension. They can't really travel in it. So that, you know, that's his like a semi-dimension attached to a two-dimensional.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah. So hi, Janie.
So are you familiar with that book? I was hoping somebody here would have seen it.
Yeah.
It sounds like maybe she has.
Yep. That video's fun too, but I don't think I've seen the book. I've seen the video.
Oh, that my first introduction was to the book. I'm actually quite fascinated by dimensions, and when I get into a jag of thinking about them, I try really hard to.
I had a science teacher who showed that video.
The dot in the line?
Yeah. And
okay.
No, I think it was my math teacher. It was one of the two. I was young at the time, and my memory isn't ever what it ever was.
Have you seen the whole thing, Naomi? Because it's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Scott, you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
Let me go grab that.
Yeah. But the whole class, the reaction from most of the class was, what the heck does that have to do with math or physics? But it's fun, and it introduced some concepts.
Yes.
But I remember a Flatland video that we weren't able to find here. And
okay, there you go, Scott. Yep. That's the
God. Yeah. There we go. Here. Okay. But, and so I was hoping to find that Flatland cartoon.
Oh,
but it was,
yeah.
we saw some up there that were a whole lot more colorful than what I remember, because I remember black and white.
Got it. All you have is okay. Well, Naomi, there you've got the link now too. It's not real long. It's just a little longer than I wanted to share
Right,
with you
it
here
was
now.
about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
or
it's
so.
almost 10 minutes. Yeah. You're very welcome, Scott. So I am quite fascinated by dimensions, and when I get into a jag of thinking about them, I try really, really hard to imagine like the next one up, the fourth dimension, and sometimes I feel like I'm close to understanding it. Well, maybe. It's certainly an interesting thought experiment. Jeff's actually been talking about doing another episode about dimensions from a little bit different perspective, and again from the same last request.
Well, it's actually what I'm thinking of fits a little bit more with what they asked for in that one about higher dimensions, and not as in fourth, fifth, but in the more esoteric realm. So.
And that's fine, because I think this is a great place to start, so that we have sort of a baseline.
Right. Yeah. And plus, what I'll be talking about is pure speculation, because we don't have any. It doesn't deal with math. This dealt with the math.
Maybe this will help you, because Sally says, have you investigated or understood the vortex math associated with the tube torus, which depicts our energy field rotating on the bias? I don't even know what that means.
No, but
Do you know what that means?
No, and
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, not where I took my career, but I have seen where they do talk about our universe, our three-dimensional universe is actually looks like it's rotating. The whole universe is rotating.
Yeah, we just heard something like that before the show, didn't we?
Yeah, but so I don't know if that's related to this or not. I'll have to look that up.
Oh, Tesla math.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, sounds interesting. If we don't cover it next time, maybe that'll be a
Just so you know, Sally, when I dropped out of math when we started getting into transformations between nonlinear vector spaces. I was out at that point. So
it's like moving around a donut on the bias.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're.
Okay.
I think I know what she's talking about, and I think we did cover it, but it's been so long. Yeah, it's been so long that I don't remember. So I'll have to look at that again.
And math is a funny thing for me. Like the lower levels of math are really hard, and then once we get to higher and higher and higher, it got easier and easier and easier. So I probably should have taken what you took. I just didn't go to a regular college. So check out the link.
Check out. I'm sorry, I haven't seen a link yet.
If you try to send us, I don't think it'll work. I don't think when they send a link it works.
Oh yeah.
YouTube squashes those. So
yeah, that way someone can't like put malware into a video.
Right.
So yeah, if
but you can send it to me, Sally.
Yeah.
And we will check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is gonna be fun. Wilder and crazier, but
yeah. Yeah, if you
good stuff.
You could try just doing the main part of the link without the www or the .com, and it if we just add that part.
Just send it to me. She can get it to me. All right, you're up.
Okay. Some stellar events this week, September 26th through October 3rd. Oh yeah, okay. Go ahead and show that. Okay, sounds good. We'll be able to find it from there.
Love it. Okay, thank you.
Some stellar events this week, September 26th through October 3rd. September 26th, tonight, the moon is at apogee. September 27th, Antares is 0.6 degrees north of the moon. September 29th, I don't know how we got to, my brain went 21st, but hey, is the first quarter moon, and the moon runs low. Yeah, that's probably what happened. October 1st, Pluto and the moon are in conjunction, and that's when I'm doing my talk on cybersecurity. Yep. So just email us at either of the links that we showed you. I'll end up seeing it. And
we'll give you this one.
Yeah. And we
gotta work it out since we finally put it in there.
Yeah, and I can add you to the invite since this is a Zoom meeting. I need to invite people into it. October 3rd is our Friday night show, and we'll dig in dig into this request a bit more.
He already gave it away.
I
Just
stole
try to
her,
give you teasers.
I stole her thunder.
Yeah, that's all right.
Find us Fridays at 9 p.m. Pacific time on the Everyday Spacer Facebook page and the Everyday Spacer YouTube channel.
What inspires you the most for the coming week? If you or someone you know has done something interesting involving space exploration, science, or astronomy, we'd love to share our live. Join us again next Friday, October 3rd. And in case you missed it, Jeff will think about more esoteric higher planes.
Yeah, and this will get more into speculation, more into almost spiritual stuff, because quite frankly,
Great.
what I'll be talking about is popular culture stuff and what we could glean from that, because I don't like to just hear something that people believe. I try to go like, what does that mean? How would that interact and stuff like that? So,
Right.
and anything that people have to contribute. The speculative shows are usually very interactive, and because I can't have all the ideas, so we'll get questions and ideas from other people in the comments.
And I'm just looking, I've got about 20 other tabs I could have shared with you tonight. So who knows? Maybe they'll show up someday. Oh, you're welcome, Janie. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate that. So that's it for me. Anything else from you?
Nope, that'll do it.
We will continue to watch for your comments as well. It's always a better show when you're here with us. Janie and Sally, I know Dawn was here, and Scott, Naomi. Did we see Cliff? I think
no, I haven't seen Cliff.
Cliff's been dealing with some stuff, so.
Yep. And then
have to write to him.
There's Dawn.
There's Dawn.
Oh, and then
Sammy Jammy.
Someone who calls themselves Sammy Jammy. We're in the comments before the show started, so I don't know if they saw the show.
It's okay.
Yep.
It's all good. We field questions even if they aren't on topic, because you never know how that will help somebody. I know for me, like, I constantly remember my third grade teacher from science class. She actually inspired me quite a bit. So you just never know how you're going to affect somebody. We try and be really kind and answer the questions. And if somebody's trying to be rude, we'll squash them.
Yeah. We just won't. You won't see it.
You won't see it.
But also, some of our best show ideas come from comments.
Absolutely.
Like next week, which is kind of like builds off of this one, was actually what someone asked for in comments. So Pam is more of the crunchy topics thing. I can, I think more outside the 3 dimensions in my brain.
We'll see.
The 3 dimensions cannot hold my brain.
Okay.
You see what she lives with all the time.
Are you done now?
Yeah.
All
Sure.
right.
Why not?
Folks, have a really great week. We will see you on Friday.
Good night, folks.
Good night.